y'all, it's my review for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 15, episode 11. So we left off on a cliffhanger of Drew being dramatic, walking out the restaurant, and we hear Kandi saying, "and scene." And I totally agree with her. Like, when I saw this, I was just like, is she really overreacting to this? I mean, with Sheree of all people? So then, they're all following her outside, and she's like, this is for real, this is my life. Over $1,000 lawsuit, girl? Now, clearly, we all know that maybe she was going through it with Ralph at the time, so maybe this is where the frustration was coming from. A lawsuit is not a joke! Well, in this case it is. So Drew is coming in hot with Sheree, and Sheree admittedly is ready to apologize, but Drew's like, get this bit, and she stopped herself, and then Sheree heard, what did she say? And then now it's going left. Drew needs to chill. Like, I'm sorry, Drew lovers, because there's a lot of you, surprisingly. But look, don't even be showing up for her movies or her music. But she is doing the most right now. I don't care what she's going through. She's taking it out on the wrong people. Taking it out on your lying, scheming ass, gaslighting ass husband. We cut to Sheree's confessional, and she's saying she's only returning what Drew's been giving her since she met Drew. And we get a flashback of Drew last season throwing in Sheree's face about her former assistant not being paid. So I think Sheree has a point with that. I'm like, Drew, you did that to Sheree, so you know Sheree petty ass gonna get you whenever she gets a chance. She said, cause everything I hear, I'm coming back to you, bitch. Petty. We're back at the table with the other ladies, and Kandi gets up, and Marlo asks her, are you gonna go check on Drew? She's like, no, I'm going to the bathroom. And they all laughing. We cut to Candi's confession, and she's saying she's seen Drew in worse arguments. So in this situation, it just seemed a little over dramatic, like she was in a movie. I'm with Kandi, that's how it came off to me. We're back with Drew and her tears. She's like, I was at the courthouse before I came here. Over $1,000. She could have went on Judge Judy for that. Speaking of which, Drew says in her confession it's not about the $1,000. It's the principle of the whole thing. This woman is coming after my family. Cue the violence. We cut to some of the other ladies, and they're like, they had no idea how serious this lawsuit was. We cut to Kenya's confessional, and she clocks it immediately. She's like, if anything is stressing Drew out, it has to deal with Ralph. It's not the lawsuit. Oh my God. I think Kenya was dead ass when she said this too. So Sheree is in the middle of genuinely apologizing to Drew. Then Kenya interrupts her and says, wait, how many people are on this trip? 8. What is 1,000 divided by 8? Kenya got a point. $1,000 divided by 8, that's $125. Drew is saying, it's not about the money. We paid her. It's about her. When you give people money, they come back. Girl, see, that's the thing. We're not getting authenticity from Drew because you can't be giving all these crocodile tears over $1,000 lawsuit. Kenya says you need a better lawyer then. This scene is still going on, y'all. Lord. Sheree and Drew are still talking, but Kenya and Sonya go back to the table. The other ladies are perplexed as well. They don't know if Drew's being serious or not. Marlo even says, can I just give it $1,000 so her problems can go away? And then Sonya lets her know that it's not just about the $1,000. It's just something that she can't talk about. We then cut to Drew's confessional, and producers are asking her, is it something else going on that you can't say? And of course, it has to do with Ralph and the way she can't trust him. It's so funny seeing Sonya speak all this on Drew's behalf when they were beefing all last season. Even at BravoCon, they were beefing. Side note, the other ladies at the table couldn't wait to throw Kandi under the bus for her comments saying and scene when Drew left the table. And I'm sure that's going to turn into an issue later. So our ladies at the table, thank God we're over the Drew situation, and the next topic of conversation is on Kandi. And it seems like Kenya is a little bit annoyed of Kandi's lack of presence in the group. And I think they all noticed that. Kandi is so busy. Again, why is she on this show? She don't need Real Housewives of Atlanta anymore. And these aren't even her real friends. So she's just doing it just to market herself. And I like Kandi. I'm just saying that I can see her on a girls trip, but just not like a full-time housewife anymore because she has other endeavors. And speaking of endeavors, she's talking about these opportunities coming her way and having to take them. Candy is then pretty vulnerable, letting the ladies know she feels like she's still in a building stage. Still, after being on this show for 14 years. Like, I feel like Candy's empire is already built, but maybe she just really wants to set up, her kids and her kids' kids. Candy's basically telling the other ladies that she will never be broke again. So next scene is the following day. The ladies are all getting ready. Manetta, this wig, I don't know, just something about it. It's very dated. Not sure what the activity of the day is, but we're with Manetta, Candy, and Drew talking in the hotel lobby. Oh, so they're being joined by the rest of the ladies, and Marlo, this rip-off Carrie Bradshaw look. I see you. But the itinerary of the day is they're going to the market, they're choosing their lunch items, it's going to be prepared for them by a chef, and then they're going to do a pottery class. So I didn't even notice, but all the ladies are down there with the exception of Kenya, so they just head to the bus as they're waiting on her. We see her coming down, and I'm not sure if production was just showing that banana peel, caution, wet floor sign as a foreshadowing, but Kenya comes out the hotel and she slips right by that sign, falls right on her ass. She doesn't get up either. It really sucks that the guy that's like at the bus doesn't go run up to help her, like once she couldn't get up. So we finally see production and the ladies help her up. She's crying. Maybe she did some damage to her butt region because we know she got some work done there. So I know it's very dangerous falling on that. Child, so Kenya's going to the hospital again. She wants Candy to go with her. Oh my God. So the ladies go back inside. We see Drew talking to Courtney at the bar. Courtney says, well, the universe just has a funny way of things happening. Basically insinuating that was Kenya's karma. Wow. They cut to Courtney's confessional and she says, this is how karma works. Kenya's a mean girl and that was her karma. And then they notice that this is the second trip where Kenya leaves in a stretcher. I would love to know from y'all, did y'all think this was dramatic of Kenya? Like, maybe she really probably could have hurt herself. She did fall hard, and Kenya's in her 50s. Like, I can only imagine. I'm in my late 30s. I'll be 38 on Saturday. Look, when my back gave out, I was done. So I can't even imagine at 52, if I fall on my back, hell, I'm probably not getting up either. Oh, we cut to Candy's confessional. She said all she had was a few days in Portugal. The first day, she was sick with food poisoning. The second day, she's going to Kenya to the hospital. The way they just show Courtney sipping on her mimosa, there's definitely no fucks given on her end. So now we're with the rest of the ladies on the Sprinter as they head to the market. We do get some Bolo flashbacks from season 13. That horrible ass season. Because I think one of the ladies are from South Carolina where the ladies were staying. That's how they were on that conversation. So they get to the market and it really sucks that the weather is just shitty when they went to Portugal. Now wait a minute. I'm not here for the catfish slander. Yes, it's the dirtiest fish, but it's the most tasty. It is like my top 3. Like at the top is catfish, then sea bass, and then branzino. So they're going through the market or whatever. Producers are just having a field day. Like they're giving the BBL to a dead rabbit. Sonya and Courtney, they go up to this vendor asking what do they sell. And then clearly, like they're surrounded by wine bottles. And production pauses the scene and puts all these arrows on the wine. I'm glad they have a sense of humor. Oh, Manetta and this wig. Like, it's like Donna Summers going to court in the late 80s. I don't know what she was thinking. So they FaceTime Candy to see how Kenya's doing. They're still at the hospital. They've been there for hours, and it looks like Kenya still hasn't seen a doctor. There's a line. They said no one there speaks English. Damn. I mean, poor Candy. I mean, she's being a good friend, though. Oh no, Marlo with the shade. She was like, this is where your worldwide comes in, Candy, because there ain't no way, like, I'll be waiting in line on the hospital against the wall. That's what she just does, Candy. She just blends in. Damn. So next scene, all the ladies are having lunch with the exception of Kenya and Candy. We're in the middle of the episode, and I gotta say, I'm a little bored. Like, I'm frying catfish right now as I'm watching. Hopefully the episode picks up. Side note, what's up with these glasses that Drew's wearing? It looks like all she's missing is like a lab coat and a beaker. Child, so here go the mess. So Marlo's talking to the ladies about her first date, and here comes Sheree the bone carrier telling her what Kenya said about her man, saying that it's not real, that's a little Tinder date. Sheree know what she doing, and Marlo does not look pleased to hear that. But for real though, even if you are a Kenya fan, you gotta admit that she has no place on criticizing anybody's man. Nobody's. So as Marlo's talking about knowing Kenya's man, Manana kind of sticks up for her and says, well, the way you brought it up at the table that you knew Roy, like you tried to steal his thunder a bit and you immediately brought up his DMs. And Marlo brings up the fact that Kenya did the same thing with Sheree's boo. And Sheree agrees with that as we cut to her confessional. But speaking of Sheree's ain't shit man, he just so happens to call her. She's all cheesed up now. Now that was a fake relationship. Watch, when we get to the reunion, Andy's gonna ask her, are you still with Martell? And it's gonna be, no, of course not. Also, by the way, the reunion is filming this week. I think they film Wednesday or Thursday. I have a friend who's gonna be there in some capacity. Oh my gosh, she got this man on speaker for all the ladies to hear. Now, this is when I say, and scene. So now the topic changes to some of the ladies throwing Candy under the bus and letting Drew know that she said and scene when she walked away from the table. And then it's brought up that Drew may be hesitant to address Candy for whatever reason, but Marlo says if it was anybody else, she would have came for them, but it's Candy, it's different. But then we move on to Drew and Marlo's beef because I forgot that was never addressed face to face. I remember how she was like cussing Drew out in the car, like when she hung up on her. She gives Drew an apology, but then Drew says, well, I'm looking for consistency. The subject changes though once the shrimp arrives to the table. I mean, to be fair, the shrimp does look good and more interesting than this conversation. So next scene, we're back with Kenya, and they were at that hospital for 7.5 hours just for her to find out that she's okay. We see Candy, who basically wasted a day in the hospital. She finally got herself some food and she looked happier. Was that a KFC in the background? I mean, it does look like she biting into a piece of chicken. Next scene, we see the ladies going to the pottery class. I forgot there was more activities to do because I'm a little bored. But we cut to Marlo's confessional and she's saying that whenever Candy and Kenya aren't around, the ladies all get along. Followed by production showing a bunch of fights involving Kenya and Candy. I really don't think this proves anything because in the flashbacks with Candy, she was antagonized both times, once by Courtney and the other by Marlo. Okay, so they're just being silly now. Like Manetta and Sonya are fake getting into it because clearly like nothing is going on right now. So all the ladies are just jumping in on the fun. I'm actually also mad at production for trying to make us think that Manetta and Sonya got into it in the previews. So I'm sure that pottery activity was fun for them, but it was boring for us. So they all get back to the hotel, and the plan is that they're all gonna have a slumber party in Sheree's suite. So most of the ladies are coming into Sheree's room. We see Candy cut to Sheree's confessional saying that she looks like Cleo from Set It Off. And she needs to do something with her wardrobe. So all the ladies are in the room with the exception of Kenya. They're talking to Candy, saying it's her last night. She gotta leave, of course, because she gotta work. So then Drew takes this time to address with her what she heard when she walked away from the table and Candy said, and scene. Candy acknowledges that and says, you know, I think from Candy's perspective, it was fun shade. But Drew, of course, isn't taking it that way. Drew says that she was being vulnerable in this moment. It wasn't a time for fun shade, blah, blah, blah. Candy tells her she feels like she's been back and forth with a lot of women in the group, and production shows us the receipts. So this moment wasn't any different, especially over a lawsuit where someone's suing you for $1,000. Also, y'all notice that all the people that Drew got into it with are egging her on to approach Candy about what she said at the table. Like she's got into it with Sheree, with Sonya, with Marlo. But yeah, she's just too dumb to realize that they're just trying to get her to go at Candy. Candy then, after hearing Drew talk ad nauseum, just apologizes to her. And I understand, I would apologize too just to get her to shut up. So is Kenya just not going to be a part of this scene? Like, you know, she's not in a wheelchair, she's not on crutches, she could just go to Sheree's room. She's really turned out to be a flop this season. I'm very disappointed in Kenya. Oh, Lord. So now we getting to Sonya talking about her sister. I kind of want to fast forward, y'all, but, we got 5 more minutes left. Yeah, they really ain't got much to talk about. Like, after Sonya's sob story, Candy asked Drew, like, how's dropping with Drew? Really? That's the topic of conversation? She's like, oh, it's doing good. Lie. So then Marlo's like, well, I'm going to sign up. I don't like to work out, but I just want to support. And then Sheree's like, well, I don't see any memberships around here. Lord, so most of the ladies are now on their phone trying to navigate She by Sheree's website. This episode is letting me down. It's letting me down. Sheree's on the topic of support now. Support me, bitch! Remember that? But Sonya's letting her know that, Sheree, we've tried to support you. Like, we go on the website. It's hard to navigate. A lot of people are saying it's overpriced too, but no one cops to saying that. Okay, so they get up to dance, twerk, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking the episode's over, but then production lets us know that production wrapped at 11:47 p.m. and 1 hour later. What happened? Child, are we really talking about the Bolo situation? And how Drew made out with LaToya? Who? Exactly, LaToya, the friend of from last season? Why are we talking about that? Why do we care? I'm guessing they're trying to do some type of foreshadowing since Drew is in the headlines now for being with a woman after Ralph. So now Drew's going back and forth with the other ladies that she did not kiss LaToya when she probably did because Drew lies a lot. So now Drew is trying to call Candy a liar, and we know Candy is a lot of things, but a liar, Candy is not. So now we cut to the confessionals. They're asking Marlo, did you see Drew kiss LaToya? She's like, I'm 80% sure. 20%, Drew be lying, so I don't really know what to believe. And then production asked Drew point blank, have you ever kissed a woman before? She says no. She's so dumb. Why would you set yourself up for that? So then right afterward, we get another 3 months later. And we see that the divorce between Ralph and Drew happened, and this is when the cameras came back up, so we're getting everyone's reactions to it, and then we're seeing like the headline, Drew Sidora's lesbian affair, lesbian, because it's just so scandalous. They're saying the affair caused the divorce, and Ralph denies cheating and abuse. Then we see footage of Drew with Ty, and then we see production asking Drew, what is your relationship with Ty? Then she just bursts into tears, and that is where the episode ends. I didn't really care for this episode, y'all. Sunday nights now, I'm looking forward to New York. I'm really glad that they're filming the reunion. They need to do something with this cast, because I didn't really care for this episode. Last week was alright, but this one, another stinker. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I'm about to get to editing. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for my New York review. Something more interesting. Bye.